lived in a place called Lurgan, which is about 30 miles from Belfast in Northern Ireland. It's a town of about 27,000 people. So growing up in the 70s in Northern Ireland was during the Troubles, where it was pretty awful at times. Bombings were a regular occurrence. Had lovely parents, two older sisters, and you had a really nice childhood apart from the kind of troubles that were swirling around us basically with the war. And it was certainly affected my mother's thinking as well, because I was about 18 when I left, and she was worried about me getting into trouble or perhaps being shot, because it was quite a routine thing for young men to be assassinated on their way home from a disco or a bar. And that was quite a common occurrence. Or to fall into paramilitary activities or stuff like that. So she was worried about that. So we knew some people in Australia. My sister had married an Australian man and moved over. But for me personally, as a young fella moving across, I didn't know anyone, so it was quite lonely. I had a lot of homesickness, so I missed Ireland a lot, missed my friends. It wasn't really until I went to university that I made sort of friends that I could, that I still know today. You generally get drunk with people and, hang out with them and discover whether or not they're politically and culturally and philosophically aligned with you. So that's what university is about for me, meeting people, having discussions, going drinking, and running after relationships as well, so chasing girls basically. Places I've lived all over the world. Australia, Melbourne in particular, is just the best. It's got a great art scene, great music scene. But yeah, look, and as I say, I still go back to Ireland. I still love it there. I still have friends, still have family. But I wouldn't swap. I wouldn't go back and live there. I might live there for a year or two, but Melbourne's my home. Melbourne's where my people are.
I think I was born with an addictive nature, with a couple of parents that were alcoholics. So I needed to find some positive addictions because I'd had enough of the negative ones. I found that running just fitted my lifestyle. It was great. I could do it early in the morning or late at night, and it just grew from there. And, it is a positive addiction. My life just doesn't function if I don't run. After about 6 hours, I knew I was in trouble. All the nutrition I had was just about gone because I was vomiting every probably 20 minutes, and I was face down in this quite deep mud, and bang, I heard the sound. He's right beside me. He's staring at me in the eyes, and he just said these prophetic words, "We don't make it today, boss." I remember these guys, they gathered around me. They could see I was cold. They took my shirt off, and it was still pouring with rain, but they had this smoky little fire going. So we sat next to the fire, and this one particular guy, he would have held my singlet up by the shoulders. He would have held it there for over an hour, and he just kept turning it like he was cooking a rotisserie or something. They provided us with this food, which was, it looked like banana leaves and a white mush, and I still to this day don't know what it was, but it was probably the best meal I've ever had. They sort of slept around me in a semicircle, and I was in the middle, in the fire on one side, and asked them the next morning about these guys sleeping there, and it was to keep the wild dogs away. And they were just fantastic people. It was an amazing experience, and yeah.
And why did you decide to travel at such a young age?
I started a full-time job at the age of 20, and a sense of adventure. Just jump on a plane and just travel to any destination. I've travelled to Italy, to Greece, Switzerland, Singapore, France, Hawaii, Fiji, Germany, Romania. Back in '86 is full-on communist. At the time I was in Greece, I met up with a few Greek guys that were studying in Romania, and they told me how different it was. So what I did was I jumped on a bus for 36 hours and ended up in Romania. Everything was controlled by the government, the army. We took in cigarettes, which we sold in inflated price, jeans, Western jeans, US dollars. You know, the exchange rate on the black market was 35 times compared to what the banks were offering. So once we exchanged all that, we had a lot of money and we were able to, spend big. Well, I had caught a taxi and speaking to the taxi driver, first thing he wanted to do is buy my passport. So a lot of them were trying to get out of communist Romania, so they would do anything. The other interesting part was the power cutter. We would be sitting talking with our friends, during the night, maybe 5, 6 o'clock, which was dark in winter over there, and all of a sudden the power goes off, and that's it for the night. There was no lights, there was no entertainment, you just have to go to sleep. And at 2 in the morning, when the lights come back on, everything starts blaring again. A lot of the people I met, their main aim was to meet a Westerner to try to get out of Romania, leaving poverty and all that.
I'm Wani. I'm 15 years old. I'm 15 years old, and I'm Duke's brother. Over the years, I've loved playing basketball, footy, and more recently, getting into acting. I don't know if I could answer my biggest accomplishment. I don't think I've had that big of an accomplishment, but I think doing the RMIT project and presenting myself in a way that I want to, and I'm doing something that I actually enjoy, and doing the play and hearing people afterwards say, "You've done a great job," and the entire ensemble's done a great job. I think that's a really big accomplishment. I coped with my nerves by knowing that everyone else around me was nervous, and I could it kind of made me think I wasn't the only one alone in the presentation stage of the RMIT project. Being nervous shows that you care about what you're doing. Yeah, I feel like doing the play definitely did lead me towards being someone I want to. That person looks like someone who's confident and can make their own decisions based on themselves, and not someone who's constantly wanting other people to help them make the decision. I feel like I had to get that sense of satisfaction in knowing that someone else is doing something so I could do it, and not just doing something because I wanted to. I want to be different. I don't want to be doing stuff that everyone else is doing. I kind of want to create something.
Hi, I'm Bailey, I'm 22 and I'm a freestyle skier. I don't know exactly what age I started, but it's probably like 2 or 3 years old. The reason I like skiing is because it's an individual sport and you don't have to rely on anyone else, and you can just do whatever you want to do. So the freedom of it is really fun. My dad's really into skiing. He's been heli skiing, and so he's been like a big inspiration. I kind of practiced as a kid, like trampolining. I remember my first backflip when I was 11 years old. The road jump doesn't really have like a name or anything. It's just the Hotham Road Gap. It's like right as you drive into the village of Mount Hotham. It was pretty spontaneous. A fair few of my friends were at Hotham that weekend, so we just randomly on the Saturday decided to build it like at night time. We got up really early the next morning and then just hit it a couple times. We were super lucky. It was like a perfect day, nice sunrise. So we all hit it once, and then the ski patrol came over and they were trying to shut it down. So I was the only one that got to hit it again, and that's when I did the backflip. And literally the night after we'd built it, we sent a message to a photographer at Hotham and asked if he wanted to come. Yeah, my mum knew what I was doing. I think she would have been a bit scared if she did that. So the first jump was probably almost more nerve-wracking because I wasn't really sure of the speed or anything like that. After the road gap, there was a few magazines. Looking back at it, it's probably a bit of a defining moment. There's fear there for sure. I wouldn't say I'm like an adrenaline junkie. Like people think just because I do like an action sport that I don't get nervous or whatever. But when I was 13, I dislocated my hip trying a double backflip. Yeah, the injury is definitely you're a bit more scared and a bit more cautious when you come back. My focus at the moment is trying to qualify for the 2020 Beijing Olympics. And fingers crossed I can qualify, but it's pretty cutthroat.
I am Carissa Bossanakis. I'm 24 years old. I have a postgrad in journalism and I also write and do comedy. I've been doing comedy for about 3 years, maybe just a little over. I started writing when I was like 21. Yeah, just started doing improv and then started doing a bit of stand-up. I did my first solo show pretty early. I did my first hour show within like the first 6 months of doing stand-up, which is probably silly, but I just have such bold confidence. And I was like, yeah, people want to hear me talk for an hour. God, what was going through my head? I think I was just so mechanical and I was so stick to the script. I was just very I didn't take into account the audience, the mood in the room, the energy. Whereas now it's very much obviously I've got my jokes and the things I want to say, but it's very much just feel the energy in the room. And if you want to chat to somebody in the front row, have a chat, ask them some questions, don't get too distracted. But yeah, I feel like my first show was very much I was reading a script rather than telling a story. It's funny because I've only done it for 3 years, so I feel like I'm still at that stage where I'm still finding my style. I definitely feel as though my voice though has probably changed in the last year. I feel like when I initially started, I almost bragged about how amazing I was on stage. I was like, I'm the best. Everyone loves me. And then you kind of realize, I don't think people want to listen to how great you are. And although that can be funny, it can also be at some point you need to be the butt of the joke. You can't just expect to make fun of other people, but then not, put a mirror up to yourself. Oh God, I'd love to write for TV maybe. I just would love to write in some capacity, whether that be for TV or for magazines or, film. But yeah, I'd love to just, I'd love to keep performing stand-up and just getting better at that.
Hi, I'm Mark. In 2019, I completed the New York Marathon. I always wanted to run a marathon. I've run a number of half marathons and I've been entering the ballot for the New York Marathon for 3 or 4 years, and in February 2018 I got an email saying, congratulations, you're in. So yeah, I did have a setback. Just as I thought that I'd done the right amount of kilometres I could finish the race, I injured my calf for the first time. Then the challenge was I found a new physio who I'd never worked with before and spent 3 weeks, four visits in a fortnight trying to work out whether I could get my calf right to run a marathon. Quite a big effort to get to the start of the race at Staten Island. Lots of people, all very exciting. Everyone's very excited. It's the biggest marathon in the world.
She's got a bride to be, a bride to groom. When are you guys getting married?
It was all very exciting. It was a great day. Sun was shining. Perfect weather for running a marathon. So the marathon was a great day. You run through 5 boroughs, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to finish it or not. And The halfway mark is about when you get onto Manhattan Island, and I thought that once I got over the bridge onto Manhattan Island, I thought, I can do this, I can finish it. I had a bit of a setback with about 10 k's to go. My body started to hurt a bit, so the last 10 kilometres were a real slog to get to the finish line, and my partner Anna was waiting near the finish line, so I knew that I had something to aim for. I thought, I can do this, and at the end of the race, it was a real sort of sense of satisfaction. Hey, I did this, and I sort of proved something to myself.
I've got epilepsy.
Describe the first moments that you knew something was off.
Moments. In the beginning, I didn't really know what was going on. I was having like just little blackouts in class at school. I had like deja vu, and then I got really lightheaded, a little bit, like started hyperventilating almost. I was 14 years old when it first started happening. I never really initially thought that it would be epilepsy at all. I never really took it that seriously in the beginning. Like, a lot of my doctors didn't really believe that there was anything wrong. All my blood tests, EEGs, all different tests on my brain, everything sort of came up with nothing. Actually, one of my pediatrician, he thought I was lying. He thought I was making it all up. When a doctor, like a professional doctor, tells you you're lying, you kind of believe it.
Where are we going today?
I'm going to my neurologist appointment this afternoon. I think he'll change something in regards to my medication, whether he adds a new one in or whether he increases the dosage that I'm currently on. I don't really know what to expect. I don't think that it will be forever. I don't think my epilepsy will be forever. Hopefully we can stabilize it with the medication, but yeah, I don't think it'll be forever, no. Although it limits some things that I can do, like driving, I don't believe that it sets me back because I don't know what to say.
I thought you were gonna cry. I was like, not now.
One man's trash is another man's treasure. Hi, my name is Ari and I'm 21 years old. My dad has been a hoarder since as long as I can remember. He would hoard outside, in the backyard, front yard, and all over the house. When I was younger, I was really embarrassed by my dad's hoarding. I would lie a lot. We would never be able to have friends over either, because I think he as well was really embarrassed by it, but to me, he just didn't care enough to ever stop. The worst part of it was I hated it so much, but every time he would speak to me about it, he was so proud of himself for what he had found, which broke my heart because I was so angry at a man that I loved for doing something that he loved. As I got older, I started to understand his hoarding more. I guess everyone is a hoarder in their own way. I'm obsessed with clothes. My whole room is full of clothes and I don't want to get rid of them, so I guess that's my hoarding in some way. I picked up a piano. That's my biggest hoarding moment. My dad actually helped me. This was the first time having a hoarder dad came in handy. It was a really fun experience with my dad. I became one with the hoarder himself. So yeah, it was nice. Now I have a beautiful piano made from, I don't know what it's made from, but made in Berlin in my living room. I'm no longer embarrassed. I've learned to accept it. When I was younger, I would lie to all my friends for years. Now I just say the truth. I'm like, yeah, my dad's a hoarder. It sucks, but it is what it is, yeah.
I wanted to be a whole lot of things. I wanted to be an electrician, carpenter, I wanted to be a mechanic. I tried that, it lasted a year, and then after that I found a passion that I didn't know I had, and that was cutting hair. So since then it's brought out a lot of me, and I get to talk to new people every day and actually enjoy my job. When you love what you're doing, a job doesn't feel like a job. In the next 5 or 10 years, I see myself owning a successful business, having a house, multiple investment properties, and a family.
What makes you happy?
I like DJing, cutting hair, spending time with friends and family. Happiest age in my life has probably been 21 years old, I'd say. I got to travel across the world and visit multiple places that I would never have done before. And also opening my own shop, which has given me a lot of new opportunities for the future. I look up to Dan Andrews because he's a fucking cockhead. Can I say that? Well, I said it. Fuck Dan Andrews.
Like one of my earliest memories was mum and dad asking for coffee with a mocha pot, and I would always want to do it myself. I would always want to make them the coffee. I loved watching it as well, spout out of the top, seeing like that warm, dark, brown, orange crema come through. That smell. I was addicted to the smell. I hated the taste, absolutely hated the taste. But it became like a very, very big part of my life to help connect. When I finally taste the first shots of the day, dialing them in, get them to that sweet spot, that first sip of just like, someone's gonna drink this and it's just gonna make them go, fuck yeah. All right, I can do anything now, I don't care. Like that first sip, that's the end of the best part of my day. So all right, I'm gonna be able to deliver something that I like put my soul into, that all these farmers and pickers put their soul into. Like, it's an amalgamation of efforts, and I'm glad to be a part of it, to express what they've done. That is the best part of my day, knowing that I can do them justice. I decided to start drinking coffee when I was 15, just to constantly taste it, to figure out why people were obsessed with it. I was making coffee in my first job. I loved the smell, as I said. I loved the act of creating it. When Rahan started teaching me how to make coffee, the very first coffee I made that I was actually happy with, he's like, we're serving that. Like, I was scared. This old man that would come in every day, sat down, pulled out his newspaper, I was just reading. He took a sip, and then the moment he took his sip, I was watching him the entire time. The moment he took his sip, he just went, put it down, turned to me and looked like, that is the best coffee I've ever had. That made me really, really happy. So even though I didn't like the taste, I wanted to keep on trying it to see what made it so special to people.
My name is Adrian. I'm the mother of Margie Bishop. I have 4 very interesting children. But my dad was a pharmacist and he was very generous. And so at the age of 14 and 9 months, I started working there, and I ended up working there till after I was 30. He mainly employed women. They were just really great people. But that one particular night, I think it might have been about 5 to 9, I was the sales girl and we had one pharmacist on. And then suddenly these 2 masked men just burst into the door and started screaming at us. And I was just absolutely, I just reacted, I just could hardly, I couldn't speak. And I was just sort of shaking my hand, and he said, "Where's the money? You know where the money is." And he was carrying a sawn-off shotgun. I said, we'll try the other till, And I opened it up, and I can just remember almost shoving this money into this paper bag. She actually had to dig around in a safe, and then he told her to get out of the way. She said to me afterwards she felt like she wanted to grab something and hit him over the head, but was scared silly that might have gone badly for me. It was just so quick, and then they just ran off. I think the time that it really affected me, I was called to court. I was there and they could see me. I felt more worried at that point than at the actual offence. I think you should be as strong as you possibly can in those sorts of situations. Yeah, I probably learnt that there are times when scary things happen and you have to deal with it, and that not everybody in the world is nice. I suppose being quite young at that point, you sort of always thought that there were nice people. To enjoy life and to be confident and optimistic. You know, that's my motto.